Yo, first time I'm doing something like this. Obviously, I feel like it's been a little while since we've had one of these before an episode, and kind of funny that I'm doing this now because I think in 2 episodes' time we'll have a pretty major rules change. We'll probably talk about it next time as well in the series that will affect the future going forward. So we'll have one of these again. But this is different, and I'm hoping this is going to be a one off thing. But I'm literally here. I'm recording this after we've recorded the episode that we did for this, like the structure deck games. I'm recording this like 40, I think it's been, yeah, about 40 minutes after we recorded the games. And I'm just here to say sorry. Like, this is going to be a very different episode, as you'll see. There is basically, if you're gonna skip an episode, skip this one. The game, I'm already letting you know, the game is not gonna have audio, and it'll be vastly sped up. I contemplated on not uploading this at all, but I feel like it's still like reflection, and it would be weird skipping a like major episode at this point. But I do also kind of feel bad about like this being the Yu-Gi-Oh upload for the week, but it happens sometimes. I mean, we've skipped weeks sometimes. Like, I know there's no obligation for these uploads, but I still like being consistent. It's fun for the most part for me. But today, a like combination of different factors. Nothing major in my life. Don't worry about it. Like, I will not remember the stuff tomorrow, but just a combination of different factors, like of like just being tired, like some like very minor things happening, and then just getting annoyed in the episode, basically because it's not gonna have audio. I'm just gonna explain. Like, you'll see the games, you'll see how it goes, but me saying this at this point probably makes it pretty obvious. It just my biggest pet peeve is like by far my biggest pet peeve, and this comes from fighting games, is someone winning and that like while they're winning they're complaining about something. It's the absolute biggest pet peeve of mine, because it's like, brother, have some empathy, have some fucking respect for, sorry for swearing, like, have some respect for your opponent. Like, it's I feel like it's such a dick move to be complaining when you're basically beating the shit out of someone. I think it's really disrespectful, and I think it just really annoys me. And that stuff happened because obviously the like a starting point for these decks is that it's like it's a big mismatch. But as you will see if you decide to watch the greatly sped up games, like I draw terrible. Jeexx draws godlike, or like all three games. I only really get into Tyranno one time, and obviously at that point Jeexx scoops. Another time he has a Fiendish Chain limiter removal. It just clears. Then the other game I just don't get anything done, and just everything culminated in like me being really annoyed. And basically at the end, it just immediately when the games end, I like towards the end, like I was also very quiet because I was just annoyed. I didn't want to say anything because like if I say anything, I'm just gonna be annoyed. So I'd rather just shut my mouth. And in the end, I literally just say like, thanks for watching, see you next time, and that's where the video ends. An embarrassing showing, and it sucks that I crashed out like that, but like it's just everything culminated in like, we expected this to be a garbage episode regardless, but it was gonna be a garbage episode probably for the other part, because it's basically like, if you get a conductor, obviously in the Dinosmasher review, I'm basically explaining the entire episode already in the intro, which I guess is fine. You can watch the deck breakdowns. We'll still probably have those as normal. I'll still probably make the set intro, but like for the games, like there's no point. If you want to watch them, sure. And I mean, some people love drama, so I don't think my channel attracts drama. But if for whatever reason, like people decide that, oh, there's drama now, so we want to watch this, then I guess that happens. But basically, I'm just explaining everything that happens because I don't think it's worth watching. I feel like you're wasting your time. I mean, even to be fair, like you kind of wasting time listening to me ramble about fucking a silly little series that we're doing on a children's card game anyway. But yeah, I'm embarrassed by how I acted, so I decided that now when I'm just calmed down, that I would just I do want to address it because like I don't want it to be something to be swept under the rug, even if it is like very minor, but still. But yeah, basically I don't want to ramble anymore, so there was something I wanted to say more. I didn't have a script for this, but there was something I wanted to say as well, but I forgot. I'm not gonna, if it's important, if I deem it important enough, I'll throw it in the as a text here or something. But basically I decided to just speed up everything because I feel like the episode is just gonna be a waste of time. Nothing really interesting happens. Like basically Jeexx summons Reactor Dragon, and Reactor Dragon is too big for me to do anything with, and that's the episode. So there you go. But yeah, we'll be back next week with Maximum Crisis, which obviously like we've alluded to, like introduce a lot of not a lot of stuff. Introduces a card that is one of, if not the single most influential card in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! So that'll be something to look forward to. Hopefully there won't be any outside factors going into it. So, because like I feel like we had that like brief dark period already with like just sets being awful, and I mean, I guess kind of this set is also, it just, we'll probably see dinosaurs again. Luckily, like I'm interested in playing the deck when there's like something else to do other than just summon Tyranno, but like obviously in a deck which should be like very consistent, like breaking the sped does feel kind of bad, but I just feel like I mostly just wanted to, we're here to showcase also like what these decks can do, obviously to the extent of our abilities, which isn't often the greatest, but I feel like this is obviously not showcasing what dinosaurs can do, especially with the limitation of not having an extra deck. So hopefully something that we can bring back in the future in some form and still show that dinosaurs can do a lot of things. And obviously, like, Dinosmasher Fury did a lot, but obviously it doesn't show like this in a vacuum. I'm still not trying to downplay. I do think that Dinosmasher Fury is definitely the better deck. There was always the chance where it's like, okay, like if you just, I mean, I feel like there is never going to be a matchup in this where it isn't like if one of you draws the absolute greatest and one of you draws terrible, the person who drew better is going to win, even if they're on complete garbage, which is kind of what makes it, cool, because there's always a chance to win. Which is also why, like, I don't really like it, when we're complaining about stuff, because there's always an ad. But yeah, I'm rambling at this point. I do apologize. Like I said, we'll be back to regular Yu-Gi-Oh uploads for next week. Probably not gonna be able to like make a proper one for this, because obviously I'm taking up Jeexx's time to do this as well. We have other series going on as well, and I'm like basically on the finish line on like graduating with my master's degree, so there's still some stuff that I need to take care of. So hopefully you'll bear with us. Like I said, I do apologize a lot because I do feel bad about this, because I mean, it could have just been, another one like, yeah, it's a like quick wrap and stuff like that, but I get annoyed, and as a result, I feel like I kind of ruined the episode. So I do apologize for that. But like I said, hopefully we'll be back to regular stuff next week as well. And we're very close to the link era, which is exciting stuff. But yeah, it's so funny to think that just yesterday I was editing the previous video and gave Jeexx an ukulele, and now I'm here doing the apology video, essentially. Karma always catches up to you. That's how it goes. But yeah, sorry for keeping you so long. If you're gonna watch the deck breakdowns, then I mean, I I appreciate it a lot, but no obligation. I mean, you have no obligation to watch anything, but I appreciate you giving us your watch time, but like genuinely don't feel bad about skipping this one. You shouldn't feel bad skipping any uploads anyway. I appreciate all the viewership, and I guess like that's also why, because I've been like, y'all have been very kind, and it's like reading all the different comments on the like different series. It's very heartwarming, and genuinely it makes my day. So that's why I feel like doing stuff like this, even if it is like our small little thing, like I feel like I'm letting people down to an extent. So I felt like I wanted to address that, and I apologize. And it will not happen again, hopefully. No, it will not happen again. I'm promising here. Thank you for still clicking on the episode. We'll roll everything else until the game as normal, probably. I don't know yet, because I always make those things, like, apart from the deck breakdowns afterwards, so I don't know. But at least the deck breakdowns will be there as normal, so. If you end up watching those, thank you so very much. Thank you for your viewership, as always, and we'll hopefully see you in more positive, on a more positive note next week. Peace, and enjoy your day. God, I end up rambling again. Yu-Gi-Oh! An incredibly complex card game with tens of thousands of cards. However, what if each set was separated from the rest of the massive card pool and your choices when building a deck were extremely limited? In this series, in order to learn Yu-Gi-Oh! From the ground up, I will be embarking on an adventure through the history of the card game with Jeexx. In each episode, we will have access to all the cards in a select product, and using all of the cards in that product, both of us will build a deck before playing a best of 3 match to determine the winner of the episode. We will move in a chronological order in the series, and with each new episode we will forget the cards of the past in order to experience something brand new. We hope you enjoyed this adventure through Yu-Gi-Oh! And its evolution with us. Welcome to the historic Yu-Gi-Oh! Learning journey. Dinosmasher's Fury and Machine Reactor were both structure decks released on the same day in April of 2017, and while Machine Reactor gave Ancient Gear some good new support cards, like Ancient Gear Wyvern and Ancient Gear Catapult, the real highlight was the Dinosmasher Fury, which would boost dinosaurs to a top tier meta deck. It added consistency boosting in the form of Pterodon to pair with Baby Ceratosaurus, as well as Lost World and Soul Eating Oviraptor to have very easy access to the card destruction effects of Pterodon and Baby Ceratosaurus. Easily still, the highlight of the entire deck was Dinosaur's new boss monster, Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, that could Book of Moon your opponent's entire board at once, while also avoiding destruction immunities with its other effect, while also, on top of it all, burning your opponent in the process. Guys and girls, welcome back to Historic Yu-Gi-Oh! Learning Journey, and you saw the intro. I'm recording this, decided to record this after the games, so, yep. What happened. It won't happen again, and I still want to talk about the deck, because there's a lot of cool stuff in here. Maybe not in the context of just this episode, but overall, like, this is what put dinosaurs on the map. So, without further ado, let's take a look at the deck. And starting us off, we have Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. It's the ultimate dinosaur boss monster. It was back then. It's still really damn good. It's a 3,500 big beater. Gonna be normal summon the set, must be special summon from your hand by banishing 2 dinosaur monsters from your grave. And once done doing the main phase, as a quick effect, you can destroy a monster in your hand or field, and if you do, change all face monsters your opponent controls to face down defense position. So you just quick effect like mass Book of Moon your opponent's board, and this card can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each, and at the start of the damage step, if this card attacks a defense position monster, you can burn your opponent for 1,000 and send it to the grave. So your opponent doesn't get the destruction effects, they don't get any flips or anything like that. Actually, wait, flip happens at the start of the damage step? Do they still get flip effects? I'm actually not sure on that. But essentially, you Book of Moon your opponent's board, and then you can just even bypass destruction immunity or stuff like that. like obviously something like Ultimate Falcon isn't affected by this, but for basically all other means that protect itself, like Tyrannus just gets through them and keeps burning your opponent in the meanwhile, while also working as a disruption and being really easy to summon. And even the cost, obviously in dinosaurs, is not really a cost. Tyranno, extremely good, and it's gonna be basically if we get to this without Jeexx having a Fiendish Chain, that's easy dub. If Jeexx has Fiendish Chain to this, he still needs to find a way for him to beat over it, because obviously on baseline, even Reactor Dragon isn't big enough, or Golem. Then we have our best normal summon in the deck in Soul Eater Reactor. On normal or special summon, you can take out dinosaur monster from your deck and add it to your hand or send it to grave. And then you can target one other level 4 or lower dinosaur monsters on the field, except for Oviraptor and Puppet, and then spell summon the dinosaur monster from your grave in defense position. And this, both of these are once per turns. And obviously the pop effect also works with Lost World, as we'll cover in a little bit, but it just gives us a lot of consistency. And for more consistent, we have the babies, 3 Babystar Stars, and 3 Petit Pterodon, sorry. And both of them, if they're destroyed by a card effect and sent to a graveyard, obviously something like Conductor Tyrannos cost. You spell summon a level 4 or lower dinosaur monster from your deck for Babystar Stars with no other limitations, or level 4 or higher for Petit Pterodon, but it has the restriction that summoned monster cannot attack this turn. Still really good. And then Misk, being on the ban list, being on the limited, it just keeps going like this throughout the times. Misk, during the main phase, you can, as a quick effect, send this card to the grave from your hand to make your dinosaur monsters unaffected by your opponent's card activated effects. For this main phase. And then you can banish any number of dinosaur monsters from your grave, including Misk, to summon a dinosaur monster from your deck that equals the levels of the banished monsters, but it gets popped during the end phase. And obviously, like this with anything else, summons the babies out, and later on when they get Animadorned Animadorned Archosaur. Obviously it's a 1, so you can just pitch this for protection, immediately banish itself, and just get Archosaur onto the field. Then we have Rescue Rabbit here, which is obviously without an extra deck, doesn't do that much. It still helps you push for damage and put a fuel in your grave for something like Tyranno, or even something like a Raptor to get back. But can be spell summoned from the deck. You can banish this card with control to spell summon 2 level 4 or lower normal monsters with the same name from your deck, but they get destroyed during the end phase, and it's a hard once per turn. You summon this, you summon 2 Sabersaurus or 2 Smasher, and you get to do some swings. Obviously, it would be a lot better if we had an extra deck, because you can overlay these for the Evolzor Xyz monsters, which is what you would like to do, and what this was mostly used for in Dino Rabbit. But for this, it's still fine. It lets us push for damage, it lets us sort these out of the deck, and obviously with those two we can then summon out Tyranno if we want to. Then we have Lost World at 3 copies. All monsters on the field lose 500 attack and defense except dinosaurs. And once per turn, if a dinosaur monster is normal spell summoned, you can spell summon a URI token to your opponent's field in defense position, and while your opponent controls the token, they cannot target monsters on the field with card effects except for tokens. So this gives you protection from stuff like Fiendish Chain or any sort of targeted effects. And then once per turn, if a normal monster on the field would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can destroy that many dinosaur monsters in your hand and or deck instead. And this is where Oviraptor's effect comes into play. You can obviously target the token, instead protect the token from being destroyed by Lost World, and then pop a Babysaurus or Petit Pterodon in your deck, which is what you usually do. Then we have Fossil Dig at level 6 or lower, dinosaur monster from your deck to your hand, so dinosaurs also get a bit more leeway in their searcher, but just the Rhoda of the archetype, obviously. Triple Twin Twisters as our way to pop back row. Obviously, basically the only card that we lose to is Fiendish Chain, so this lets us deal with that, and also lets us put stuff into the grave to fuel Tyranno or get back with Oviraptor. Triple Terraforming to have access to Lost World as much as possible, because it's really good. Triple Grand Horn of Heaven. The opponent main phase, when they would spell summon a monster, negate summon if you do destroy the monster, then the opponent draws one card and end the main phase. But still, the only way that I see that Jeexx will be summoning stuff out is basically obviously cheating them out with like stuff like Catapult and Gear Town. Obviously, using them together, Gear Time misses timing because the card is dog water. But like something like Catapult, like putting Golems and Reactor Dragons on the board, like being able to negate those, basically means the deck has no place. And then Quaking Mirror Force, 2 more in the side as well. Basically, when your opponent swings, you mass book a moon and them, and they can't then change their battle position when flipped down by this effect. Basically, just another way for us to do Conductor Tyranno stuff. I would play this at more, but obviously a lot of the Ancient Gear stuff in the deck, like, it's kind of the thing of the Ancient Gears to say, like, hey, spells and traps can't be activated, so battle traps really don't work against them a lot of the time. So unless it's something like, I think, Wyvern, like for most of the stuff, like this doesn't work, so that's why we only have 1. But the rest of the stuff is kind of worthless, so I decided to still throw in 1. Then we have a single copy of Tyranno Infinity. I don't think we're going to be banishing stuff enough for this to be worth it, because we'd want it to be at least 3, but I don't think it's going to be consistent enough. Because even like it needs to be banished dinosaurs, so Rabbit doesn't even work. A Superation Dino Beast can be tribute summoned by tributing 1 dinosaur monster, and when a dinosaur monster is spell summoned from a grave while this monster is on the field, you can now draw a card. We don't have stuff like calls and monster reborn, so I don't think we would get enough out of this, but still it's there if we want another relatively accessible beater. Ojama Trio, there to fill Jeexx' board and to burn him a little bit more. I don't think it's in the side. I don't think I'll be signing into this because most of the time the deck either isn't putting out anything, maybe a Wyvern, or it's cheating out one of the big things, so I don't think he's going to be Star Force based anyway. 3 Sacred Blast, inflict 300 damage to your opponent for each card they control. If this card you control is destroyed by an opponent card effect and sent to graveyard, inflict 1000 damage instead. And maybe something to side in for like Quaking Mirror Force when we reveal that we have Grand Horn of Heaven, if it wants to be then like sniping a back row involuntarily, not involuntarily, but kind of like, okay, I'm hoping that's a Grand Horn of Heaven. Inflict a little bit of burn, but not really great. Survival of the Fittest at 2. Target a dinosaur type monster you control. Equip this to that target against 1000 attack. And when the attacking monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to graveyard, you can activate this effect. The equipped monster can make a second attack on an opponent's monster in row. Obviously, this doesn't really do much for us because it would only really do anything for the vanillas. Because for Ultimate Conductor, it already can attack all your opponent's monsters once each. So this doesn't really do much there. And it needs to destroy it by battle and send it to a graveyard instead of the effect like Tyranno. So it doesn't really work for Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, which is why most likely we'll not see this. And finally, Unexpected Die, which just if we have a empty board of monsters, we get to special out a free Saber Source or Megalo Smasher. Could be neat if once again we had extra deck plays, but now like I'd rather keep all of them in the deck so to keep Rescue Rabbit as alive as possible. Because yeah, so it's there if we want to go for it. I highly doubt so. Exactly 10 minutes, and that's gonna be it for me. This is where I'd usually say I'll see you in the dueling zone, but given the nature of this game, if the deck breakdowns are all you watch, like honestly I think that's better for all of us. When I've had time to dwell on it, like I'd feel like even more embarrassed by it, but this works as a great reminder and a lesson though. But like stuff like this, hopefully it won't happen again, like I said. I do apologize, but thank you for watching my deck breakdown. Hopefully you enjoy Jeexx as well. And I'll see you, hopefully, next week. Enjoy Jeexx breakdown.
Okay, so we're playing Machine Reactor versus Dinosmasher's Fury. Both are structure deck Rs for decks that I have had when I was a child. Both of these decks are things that I bought when I was in 2017. When they came out, I bought them on the day of release, April 13th, 2017, and I played a match with these later that night with Cloudy, my childhood friend, and we both agreed that the Ancient Gear deck is just complete ass in comparison to Dinosmasher's Fury deck. So, without further ado, Ancient Gear box. If this card is added to your from the deck or graveyard to your hand, except by drawing it, you can add a 1 Earth Machine type monster with 500 attack and or defense from your deck to your hand, and can only be used once per turn and cannot be Gearbox. Ancient Gear Gadget. If this card is normal spell, somebody can declare a card type. Either monster, spell, or trap. This turn, if a monster attacks, your opponent cannot activate spell or trap card or monster effects, whichever was declared, until the end of the damage step. And once per turn, you can declare a different gadget name, and this card's name becomes that gadget. I think this effect is a little clunky. I think this is the weirdest effect in the entire deck by far. But I guess the idea is if you're using like Ancient Gear Chimera or like Gadgetron Dragon, the originals, you can have them game effects based off of which one you're tributing. Like for example, green gadget gives you piercing, red gadget gives you burn, yellow gadget gives you another amount of burn. Then there's also Gadgetron, which has a chimera and which has, again, green gives you attack, red gives you burn, and yellow gives you more burn. But yeah. Then we have Hydra. At the end of the damage step, when this card was tribute summoned by tributing a Ancient Gear monster, and when this tribute summoned monster that was summoned by tributing Ancient Gear monster battles an opponent's monster, but the opponent's monster was not destroyed by battle, you can banish that opponent's monster. If this card is tribute summoned, was tribute summoned by tributing a gadget, it can attack all of your opponent's monsters, once each. If an Ancient Gear monster you control attacks, your opponent cannot activate spell, trap cards, or monster effects until the end of the damage step. Knight is just a 1,800 beat stick. Normal summon has the generic Ancient Gear effect. Reactor Dragon, if this card was tribute summoned by tributing an Ancient Gear monster. If this card that was summoned by tributing an Ancient Gear monster attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage. If this card was tribute summoned by tributing a gadget monster, it can make a second attack each battle phase. If this card attacks, your opponent cannot Ancient Gear effect. At the end of the damage step, if this card could attack, you can destroy one spell trap card on the field. Wyvern, if it's a normal spell summon, you can add an Ancient Gear to your hand and cannot set card for the rest of this turn. And if this card attacks, Ancient Gear effect except just for monsters. Max C, Ancient Gear Castle, all my Ancient Gear monsters gain a 300 attack, and each time a monster is normal summon, you can place a counter on this card, and if you tribute summon an Ancient Gear monster face up, you can tribute this card if the number of its counters is equal to or greater than the number of required tributes. Catapult, when you control no monsters, target one face card you control and destroy it, and if you do, spell summon one Ancient Gear monster from your deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one face card you control, destroy it, and if you do, spell summon one Ancient Gear token on your side of the field. Ancient Gear Fortress. During the turn they were normal spell summoned, your opponent cannot target Ancient Gear monsters you control with card effects, and they cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to the activation of Ancient Gear cards or effects. If this card is destroyed in the spell trap card zone, you can spell summon one Ancient Gear monster from your hand or graveyard, and you cannot spell summon monsters for the rest of this turn except Ancient Gear monsters. Gear Town. Both players require one less tribute for Ancient Gear monsters. If it gets popped, summon an Ancient Gear from deck, hand, or graveyard. Limit removal, everybody knows what that does. It pops stuff. It gives big boosts to attack and pop stuff at the end of the turn. Machine duplication summons up to 2 copies of the same card. Terraforming for searching for my gear towns to pop them. Fiendish Chain for negating things. Jar of Avarice for recycling. Huge Evolution in case I happen to get hit with like Harpy's Feather Duster or I don't even know, man. I don't even remember what the deck has right now. Then Ancient Gear Knight, Galaxy Cyclone for targeting spell traps and popping them, limited removal, more copies, pseudo space, so I can use Gear Town effects easily. Call the Haunted, Jar of Avarice, and Huge Revolution. Anyhow, I think this deck is it's not completely ass. Like there's things that it can do. It's got Catapult, it's got Fortress, but the deck that it's up against is just it's a World Championship winning deck, right? On paper, this deck just underperform or doesn't perform at the same level. Anywho, good luck with the games.